Welcome to Pred Unhinged, brought to you by Gamers 2 Cents. We are the gamer bros, not the gaming pros. I'm gonna be your host, Wet Dog, as usual, and joining me as usual, it's gonna be Saab 101. Saab, say what up to the people.
What up?
Energetic as usual, as you can tell. So, on today's episode, we have sort of a crossover. We are going to be talking about Predecessor and League of Legends, specifically Kira versus Samira. And we had a question in Discord from Yaji Roby, and I'm so sorry if I said that wrong. But my main man Saab is going to bring up the question and he's going to read it. Saab, the floor is all yours.
Yeah, I got a lot of to say about this one, in general. But I'm gonna bring it up. Hold on. Damn it! Boom. So as you can see, I don't know how to use them in this. Yeah. So Yajirobe says, "Hi, cool that you mentioned Kira as a champ, which stands in a spot for rework. She's an Omida, Jesus, native, right? Question mark. I guess she's very inspired from Samira out of League of Legends. It's a bad thing to copy champs, to be honest. Samira is one of the most cool champs, top 3 of League champs. If you want Samira in Predecessor, the best way is to ask Riot Games politely, though it is possible to accommodate her. Yeah, I'm sorry. Accommodate her. Kira, in comparison to Samira, feels not that stylish, making a face. Her abilities are looking palish. She's not in a spotlight, same like Drongo. His abilities are not much visible also. The damage she outputs comes from her number scalings. Her ult is way too strong. She's easy to play, and opposite to Samira. It's not good for the company to copy a masterpiece and give it another name and primary weapon. I could like the idea to migrate the whole champ as it is, but you have not created her, right? Question mark.
All right. So that was the question. Obviously, there's a lot to
Unpack.
go over there. Go over that. Um, Also, shout out League of Legends, Arcane, League of Legends on Netflix. Amazing show,
Oh
amazing
god.
game. But let's get into it. Just had to do that real quick. So basically, today's episode is going to be Samira versus Kira. While trying to answer some of those other questions, with the first one, if Kira is an Omega native, I am not 100% sure. I started playing Paragon back in 2016, and I can't remember if she was on the roster or not.
Nah, she wasn't.
Stop. She wasn't. Okay, so she is Omega native then. There's your number one answer. Yeah. So basically, I was a good host and I did my research. Granted, I did have some help. One of my friends is a League of Legends player, so I asked for his opinion about her, and his statement was she's definitely a late game kind of champion. Pretty weak early, but she scales really hard and is really good in team fights once she gets like 2 points in her ult. Usually, if I'm in lane against her, I try to bully her super hard early because she doesn't have a ton of range. So the strategy is just to keep her from farming and try to call jungle for ganks. And if you can get behind her, also like I said, she's really good. Okay. Anyways, that's the gist. I just needed a little bit, and for people who don't play League of Legends, kind of the gist. I feel like kind of same for Kira. Like Kira's kind of weak early on, but scales really hard. Kind of like her. So now I'm just gonna go over abilities because when I first when Saab first sent me this question, I was like, okay, let me watch a 3-minute guide on Samira. And I was literally sitting there, I was like, man, they are nothing alike. But I was like, all right, let me be a better host, actually sit down and get to my stuff. So starting off with the passive, they're not too alike, but in a sense, definitely alike. And it comes down to Saab, if you can bring up Samira's passive, if you
I
have
did.
all of that.
Pair
Okay,
passive Daredevil impulse. Impulse.
yeah, do you
Yeah.
want to read it real quick?
All right. As it says here, as you see, passive Daredevil impulse, chaining non-repeating abilities and basic tests increases Samira's style grade by 1 letter from E to S. I don't know what the hell that means because I don't play League. Every style grades her bonus movement speed. Samir can also damage enemies at range with her guns, or with her sword in melee range. The latter dealing bonus magic damage. Samir can also juggle enemies who are movement impaired by her allies in the air, extending the displacement. And as you can see
Yeah.
here. And now this is not a versus, this is a more like a comparison would be better.
Yeah,
Way to say.
this is like comparison of like how similar their abilities are to say if like predecessor did copy her abilities in a sense, which so going over Kira's passive, it was recently changed the last update, and it's Nevermore activates every 15 seconds, empowering Kira while empowered. Kira's next basic attack or Mercy Blast fires a raven at the target that explodes on impact, dealing 7% of the target's current health. So they have similar stuff in that where it's like their passives kind of give bonus damage. Hershey, for League of Legends, they added a little bit more to her than Kira, but I can definitely see where like they kind of took it, and also her whole like vengeance passive where she gets her stacks is because it's honestly it's just a passive with the stacks, and um those stacks deal additional damage for her Dusk ability, which is basically like Samira's. Being in melee, she does an additional, I think it was like 22 magic damage. So that's very similar in a stance. Very, it's different, but like one of her other abilities is like that passive. Um, Moving also passive because I kind of thought the passives were like different, but not like incredibly the same. What do you think, Saab?
Sorry,
Saab?
I'm trying to find stats for the what the damage does. So I don't know. I don't have any of that pulled up in front of me. I don't have too much to say. I can just, I don't, I don't have no opinion really. They don't look the
That's
same to
fair.
me, so I don't get that passive. But hey, man, I don't play League of
I mean,
Legends. I can
we're
just see
not
what
League of Legends players. We're just we're trying to do our best here.
I'm visually just looking at it, and
No,
this is
you're good. So we'll move on to the next, which obviously y'all got Q, E, W, and whatever other button is all.
Hold
So
on,
I kind
stop.
of just
The
matched up
fuck did
the.
you see that?
We mean.
Oh, Q, flare. I gotcha. E, W.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have no like correspondence what that goes. I mean, maybe it's the same on PC players for predecessor, but we're on controller, so I have no clue. So I just compared the most similar abilities in a sense, and so I might get these pairing wrongs. But anyways, so the Q, which for Samira is literally just like a straight shot, and
Oh,
it applies one stack.
okay.
And for Kira, she has an ability Mercy,
Oh,
which
hold
is
on.
literally
Also, Q does melee slash of a sword. if they're in range.
If they are, yeah. So I'm ignoring melee for right now, and I'm just
Okay.
going off her range.
All right, continue.
So for Kira, she has Mercy, which is literally just firing a power shot forward.
Oh.
Literally the same thing. Which I don't know if it's set on League. If you can look for her straight shot, if it can apply lifesteal, critically strike, and applies on hit effects. I don't know if it said that.
Where the fuck do you see that?
Well, that's for Kira, but I was asking for Samira if it says that on her ability thing.
It just says the simplest thing to me. That's what I'm trying to find. Where it should, website where it would tell me deeper shit.
No, it's fine. It's fine. So I mean, we don't know if it does. But basically, it's the same thing. It's a piercing shot forward, and the only real difference that I've seen is that Kira gets 3 stacks of vengeance for it, and Samira gets 1 stack. That's the only difference, and that's honestly really not that big of a difference. So basically identical. So that's number 1 for identical. And then also a little side note, because I'm talking about stacks. Kira has stacks. Samira has stacks. That is super identical as well. But the only difference.
Okay, I got you. I finally found it.
Okay, what you got?
Okay, people. The wiki. I'm a fucking idiot. So what are you talking about? The flare? Alright, here we go. It is cost 30 mana. Cooldown starts at 6. Gradually goes down, I guess. I'm assuming. Because it says 6/5/4/3/2.
Yeah.
Or is that how it cools down? But I don't know.
That's like
Anyways,
when you upgrade it.
Alright, cast time. That's what I thought. Cast time is 0.25. Target range is 340. Range is 950/400. Width is 120/120.
Okay. So we ain't gotta go into all that.
So physical damage says 0/5/10/15/20 plus 110% AD.
I have no clue what that means for the AD part.
Yeah, I don't know, but I'm just reading this shit, so it might pop in your target. If flares cast, ooh, holy shit! Look at all this. Yeah, no. Anyways,
Yeah, no, we're
I'm
just
brought.
gonna keep it. We're gonna
I'm
keep
just
it
brought.
simple.
Keep it simple. Keep it
We're
simple.
just gonna
Stupid.
scratch the surface.
Yeah.
The only other identical thing is that Mercy also costs 30, but they have different cooldowns.
Correct.
Which Kira being 8 seconds, 7, 6, 5, 4. But overall pretty identical, and I think honestly they probably did copy it, and they just changed like the slightest amount of things to be like, oh no, we did copy you.
Continue.
Anything else, Sub?
I got some words after all this though, especially that copy part.
Okay. Well, I was gonna move on to the stacks, but
yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So basically they both have stacks, which Kira can indefinitely stack, and she just has a cooldown of 3.5. Samira's stacks, I think they also, I can't say for sure, because I don't know. But I do know that her stacks work a tiny bit different, where it works towards her ult. And that Kira's stacks just work towards one ability. But the only difference on their stacks is that Kira doesn't have to change her abilities to stack. Samira, so for example, Samira has to do different abilities for attack. So she can't do 2 auto attacks and stack 2 times. if she does one auto attack, she'll stack one time, and then the second one doesn't add a stack. In order to stack again, she has to do like an ability, then shoot, and then that's 3 stacks. That's the only difference.
Hey,
Does that
I'm
make
learning
sense to you,
something.
Sam?
I'm learning something. Okay, I'm not the best at this. This is interesting.
Hey, brother, I did my fucking research. I sat down, I watched like 60 minutes of Samira videos, dude. I was sitting there, I was like, all right, bro, if I ever play League of Legends, I found my main. All right, moving on to what would be her E and Kira's Shadow Glide. So here we go again. I mean, they're both glides, so yeah, they're super similar. Which, going off, you know, if they were sneaking a peek at League of Legends, they were like, okay, you know, let's take that. The only like difference that they did is that Samira does damage for her glide. You could almost call it dash too. Dash glide. She does damage, and after she gains attack speed. Versus Kira, she gains bonus power. Bonus up, physical bonus power. So I was like, okay. They changed it up, you know, they both definitely hit a little change up, and you know, a lot of people have glides that's universal, so can you really call that copying? Until I got down to reading it. On takedown for Kira, it resets. On Samira, if she gets a takedown in 3 seconds, it resets. So I was kind of sitting there, I was like, all right, maybe they was looking at Samira and they were just like, all right, let's change like a tiny bit so it's not identical in a sense. What do you think, Saab? Sabadoodle.
Yeah, sorry, changing my mic settings. I don't know. They just Dash is universal. I got, like I said, I got a whole spiel about this whole comparison between them.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair. I can keep going, and then
You go
we
off. You
can.
study more. You know me. I didn't study, to be honest, but it's the basics that I do have a very
All right. Well, keep your thoughts in mind, and
yes.
I'm gonna get through
Oh, I
this,
have it.
and
I
then
have it.
we can talk about it, and then you know, if Yaji Roby wants to reply when he sees this, you know, we can always talk about more in a later episode. There's always a comeback thing. So, going to the next one is W, and then she only had one ability left, so I just was like, all right, cool. We're just gonna compare these two, which honestly, this is the only one that I'm like, okay, this might have been the one thing that saved you that you changed. So, Samira's W is a twirl blade, which she does damage, and if I remember correctly, she can deflect projectiles incoming.
It says
And then
so. It says
yeah,
blade whirl. Samir slashes the area around her with her sword, damaging enemies in a vicinity twice and destroying any enemy missiles in the area at cast and that enter the area after the fact. As
yep.
people can see on the screen.
Does that. I mean, I don't have too much to say about it. Like, it's cool. Honestly, I wish we had a predecessor character that, you know, I mean, I guess we have Yin. If you think about it, we have Yin. She's got her one ability that she smacks her whip and any incoming projectiles get returned, but not focusing on that. And then of course, Kira's last ability is Dusk, which all the stacks that she has get applied to the enemy. And depending on how many stacks she has, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, is increased damage. It does increase damage. Which is kind of the thing I was talking about earlier, is kind of like Samira's passive, how she has a melee does 22 like extra. That's kind of like they kind of comparable in a sense, because that's like her extra damage because she doesn't have a melee form. And also apparently dust resets if you kill anyone. Didn't know that. Moving on to alt.
I did not know that either.
I didn't do. I was literally sitting here. I was like, wait a minute. There's something like at the bottom. I was like, what the fuck is that? And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, but I don't play Kira, so I wouldn't know.
No. Last but not least, honestly, I forgot to write down what her Samira's alt button is.
I got you.
But
Inferno Trigger. Samira unleashes a torrent of shots from her weapons, widely attacking any enemies around her 10 times over a duration. Each shot deals physical damage, applies lifesteal, and can critical strike. Samira can only cast Inferno Trigger if her current style grade is at S, the max grade.
So that's the stacks that I was talking about earlier, Saab. So you know how they was talking about you gain stacks, whatever letters were named? You have to be at max stacks for Samira in order to use her alt. And upon alt, it resets your stacks to 0. So that was the other difference I saw, was like Kira uses her stacks for like additional damage. Samira uses her stats for her alt. But going off that, you know, I was watching a video on League of Legends, and literally it gives Samira a circle, and there's like a little spinny animation, not too much. And you know, Kira gets her little circle, and then there's a spin, and I was like, all right, yeah, like looks a little similar. But then I was also sitting there and like, back to the whole like glide talk. There is so many games where people have an AoE alt. Like if you literally hop over to Overwatch, like we have Reaper literally spins in a circle shooting his guns just like everyone else. And then if you hop over to Marvel Rivals, you have Twin Blast, or not sorry, not Twin Blast. Star-Lord, who spins in a circle shooting his guns, AoE effect. So I was like, that's kind of a universal thing. It's been around. There's plenty of characters out there that you can find that do AoE alt. But then honestly, I got down and it was like, these attacks benefit from lifesteal and can critically strike. And it was like, Samira, these attacks can benefit lifesteal and can critically strike. I was like, well, you know, just maybe they were taking a peek over at League of Legends. And then the only thing I didn't know, because I was reading the description, and it didn't have it like in the ability description, but while Purge is activated for Kira, she can't attack or cast any abilities except her Shadow Glide, and she's slowed by 30%. So Saab, if you have her all up, does it say anything about Samira casting abilities or attacking, or if she can cast her glide?
That don't know. It says Samira's facing direction remains it been, or if she's moving towards the direction during Inferno. The movement speed reduction stacks actively. Whoa, it is all shit. It doesn't say it can.
Okay. Yeah, so that'd be a question.
Oh yeah, she can't.
Yeah,
She can't. Samir
Okay.
cannot basic attack nor cast flare or blade whirl during her ult. She can still move though.
Okay. It doesn't say anything about like her little dash.
That's the
Oh.
the
Okay.
flare, I believe.
Okay. So that's a difference right there, but
Yeah,
overall that
that's
one
the
I was
flare.
kind of like 50-50, like could go either way just because they had
Hold
similar
on.
wording in
Hold
them.
on, I could be wrong. Wait. No, actually no. It says Wild Rush is the no, it doesn't say it. So she might be able to
Okay.
do it. Because it says Samir cannot do flare or whirl, but can still move.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be a question, Yaji Roby, that you'd have to answer for us if she can do her dash while she ults. Yeah, because if she can, then holy shit, stop. That is literally like a look-alike right there. Um, yeah. So going off that, I've like one more thing, and then Sob, I'm gonna let you take the floor because I know you've had some ideas and thoughts and
I have some thoughts.
criticism. The only other person, or the only other thing that really kind of sets them apart is that Samira has a melee mode when she's close, which Kira doesn't. So the only like other character I kind of see in comparison but have total different abilities is Eden, in the stance that he has a melee range,
She.
and that
She.
Samira has a melee range. And yeah, but their melee ranges were completely different. But yeah, so that's the only like really big difference in a sense. And yeah, I'm gonna stop rambling. That was all my notes. Tried to answer your question better. I'm gonna let Saab take the floor.
Yeah. Now, where is it? Gotta pull it up. So, reading this, and I'm pulling it up. Inspired, and when they say it's a bad thing to copy champs, to be honest, here's one thing most people forget, that there's not a lot of original ideas. A lot of characters are pretty much inspired from a lot of things. Um, so you're always gonna see a mix or say, "Oh man, this character looks like that" in every game because it's done to hell and back for a long time in movies, in books. So obviously, ain't gonna ask Samir to be in predecessor because that just makes no sense realistically. But I get what you're saying, but it's not really copying because it's kind of hard to, like I said, create original characters. So if you see it in one game, you're gonna be saying, "Oh, they copy that from this one game." When a character that does an animation attack as Kira and Samira does has been done in anime to hell and back. Like this thing is not like it's not a an amazing thing that's been done for the first time ever. So just saying in my opinion that these things I've seen in anime or things beforehand. It's not copying. They're just inspired or they're doing what they think is cool in their own head. If it crosses over with something else, so be it. That's just the life of an artist and creating a character. But yeah, I wouldn't you go around saying copy too much because it's not a thing. Inspired is a good word, just so stick to that. That's my 2 cents, to be honest, because a lot of people who like League or come to predecessor or another game, they say, "Oh, they copied this character," right? I'm like, bro, yeah, I think it's your first time being born in the world, because a lot of these original inspirations are copied from a lot of movies, cartoons, a lot of old stuff. Like, so be careful where you say copy, please. That's just my 2 cents. And yeah, we try to answer the best of our ability. Um, if you like to leave a comment, we'll reply to it. The best we can. As I said, we appreciate you bringing up the question. And yeah, uh, what do you
Of course, of course.
what you gotta say?
I 100% agree with you. Like, if you look at the course of history, and this is a random number off my head, there's probably 1,000+ zombie movies. So therefore, does that first zombie movie that was ever made, are they copying them? No, they took the idea and changed it a little bit. And maybe one of the leaders, that I honestly I don't know the person's name that creates the character. I assume it's people sitting in a room being like, "Oh, what could be fun to add?" And maybe someone in there was like, "Oh, I grew up playing League of Legends, for a while. Like, Samira's like one of my favorite characters. What if we did a little spin-off, changed her up because she's still liked in League of Legends, like I want to bring that to predecessor. It's such a great game." So you could also look at it like League of Legends is a big brother and predecessor is an infant, and the infant's like, wow, like I really like how they are, like like I kind of want to be like them. And I get what you're saying, Sam. That makes a lot of sense and is a very good point. What do you agree? No?
Yeah, I don't mind
Okay.
people. I don't mind people because I know a person who just they play League for a long time, and they say certain things that kind of aggravates me. As I've done art myself, and I enjoy it. It's just inspiration comes everywhere. So just that's why I say
Yeah.
be careful with the word copy, because it's just a dangerous thing to say to people um, who
Fair.
understand art
Fair.
more. But I do
Yeah.
understand what they're saying, and I say, you know what? Yeah, why not be inspired, right? Like hell.
All right. Well, I got my whole 2 cents and maybe some more out. Do you got everything you got out?
Uh, in general for Pred.
No, the question.
No, I'm good. I just want if
Okay.
they got any more
Okay.
comments, be happy to leave them. We don't mind answering them to the best of our abilities. We do appreciate your question very much. So,
Of course. So going on next, we're gonna have a second segment conversation topic since predecessor did just the new hero Adele. I'm actually a meta native too.
I'm sorry. What?
On
Say
my
that again. You went crazy there.
try to like start over completely.
No, no, no. You said Adele, but
Oh,
Omega
okay.
what? No, you gotta repeat that
Native,
part.
Omeda native.
No, she's
I like
not.
that term you said, so I'm using it. Omeda native. I'm pretty. Or they were an
Shh,
overprime. I know
Prover
that.
Prime.
Yes.
I said,
Um.
I said, you know what? I could tell they could tell they're over prime character, because when I saw them, it's because there was a lot of Korean flavor into it, and I was like, oh
Yep.
yeah, yeah, okay, I can tell.
But anyways, she just dropped. I think, God, what, 3 or 2 days ago from when we're recording this, which is April 9th. I have not gotten the time to play the game enough, see her in gameplay, read over her kits, read over her patch notes. So, therefore, we are going to save her for next episode, and that's going to be our starting segment. If there's a lot to say, it might be our only topic for the next episode. If it's a brush over, I'm gonna do some wet dog stuff and get something else. Other than that, we're gonna wrap up today's episode. And a big shout out to Gamer 2 Cents, for hosting this podcast. And make sure you subscribe to them, give it a like, interact with their videos. They have a lot of variety going on their channel. So if this isn't your cup of tea, or if it is your cup of tea, they might have something that's your second cup of tea that you can go check out. But much love to them. Also, don't forget to go follow Wetdogplayz on Twitch. That's me. I'll be streaming Pred gameplay for rank, so if you enjoy watching people play it, it's fun content, always fun. And Saab, you want to say goodbye to the people, or am I forgetting anything?
Yeah, again, fuck Steel.
Fuck Steel. All
That's
right.
right.
All right, Saab, say goodbye to the people.
Goodbye, people.
All right. Till next time, folks. Peace.